Hi everyone, welcome to today's blog and today is Monday, and we're continuing to look at this piece of work by Philip Yancey about prayer, and today's little title is perhaps one of the most important of all, friendship with God, and what that might look like and what it means. In Philip Yancey's book, he refers to another author, C.S. Lewis, the person who created the Narnia stories, and C.S. Lewis talks about how everything and everyone is indeed known by God. It's part of how and who God is, that he created everything in relationship with him. So everything is known by God, but not everyone knows God. And therein lies part of our journey, and also part of our problem. It's a bit like us realizing maybe in our lives that we have many unknown gifts. We might be a very good sports person, we might be a very good musician, or it's good in many different aspects of life, but until we discover it, we don't necessarily know it. But that doesn't mean it's not there. It could have been laid there for generations, and indeed for many decades, and then suddenly it comes into being, comes to life. And that's very much true about our spiritual life, our prayer life with God. Not so much about just forming that friendship, but actually deepening it and enabling it to breathe and live and have its being. I certainly wasn't brought up within a particularly Christian family. It was probably Christian believing, but not really much more than that. And so it was quite a big thing for me when I first chose to become a Christian in my 20s. When I look back, I could see moments in the past before that, in my teens and earlier, where maybe God touched my life. But it was probably in my 20s that I started to actively seek a relationship with God. And from that, one of the things I perhaps didn't necessarily realise at the time, but certainly as I now look back as I approach my 60s, is just what a wonderful and beautiful and powerful and deep relationship that has been, as well as all the highs and the lows of faith and church life and everything else to do with that. It's this deep sort of music that's underneath everything that is so powerful and speaks to me of what really being a Christian is all about. And it's very difficult to put into words. The closest I probably get, and I was an only child, so I wasn't brought up with brothers and sisters, is perhaps how I project onto those who do have a good relationship with brothers and sisters. There's a way of knowing, a way of being with each other that goes beyond words. I've probably only ever heard God speak audibly 2 or 3 times in my life. If somebody was to say, well, have you ever heard God speak to you? But at the same time, that knowing, that sense of belonging and being is so profound, and it grows more and more every day. Not just because I happen to be a minister or a vicar, but just as a Christian. That's my first calling, and my highest calling is to be not a minister, but to be this friend of God. And that relationship is built on talking about many things, the big, the important, the trivial, the things that are just happen to cross my mind, that make me smile, make me laugh. All these things I feel as though I'm sharing as with a brother or a sister, and it matters, it means something. And in that sense, I think God's relationship with us and our prayer life is a way of enabling that to blossom and grow. But what it demands more than anything is absolute honesty and no judgment. That's what I find with God, is he offers us, he demands of us honesty, which means being able to be honest about my failings, my flaws, my weaknesses, my unfulfilled dreams, but also about my realizing that beyond all my own self-recrimination and my own judgment of myself, good or harsh that it may be, the reality is I know I'm loved, and that love is so profound that it goes beyond judgment and indeed sets me free. And I find that with my friendships, I have a group of friends in different situations, some close by, some far away. But I know that I can be close to them, and they will accept me and be with me wherever, whenever and wherever I need them, and I would hope to do that for them. And of course we long for this, I think, deep within us. And what I find so sad in our world sometimes is people just don't realise this is all available 24/7. Wherever we are, whatever we're doing, whether we're in the middle of an ocean, on top of the highest mountain, it's always there. And all we need to do is be willing to open our hearts and receive it. The Psalms capture this so beautifully. When in Psalm 42 it talks, "As the deer pants for the water, so my soul longs after you, O Lord." Does it? Will I let my soul long for our Lord, and indeed be vulnerable with him? So friendship with God.